I know we were just talking about Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, the man in the tan jacket you saw in the video last night. Here again, he went over in his own private jet to retrieve Mark Fogel and bring him back. I know you were just talking with us, the press out here at the White House, some of those details of bringing him home and just how he felt in those moments. Can you share a little bit about that behind the scenes?
He was exultant. He got on the plane. He was kissing people and hugging people he had never met before in his life. And I think what was really epic was when we landed at Andrews Air Force Base. And I said to him, "Mark, you're on American soil." And he was jumping up and, kicking. Remember that old commercial when you kick cigarettes, and you sort of did that little scissor kick? Yeah. He did something along those lines. He was a really happy person. Talked to his mom on the phone, 95 years old, his whole family. It was wonderful to see. We all felt blessed.
I was going to say, you told me that here just before we came on, that I asked you what it felt like, and you said, "I feel blessed," that someone reached down and touched you and asked you to do this. You've been able to bring home several, even possibly almost a dozen people from Venezuela you just went and got, as well as now Russia. Do you have a sense of who President Trump wants to bring home today, or who may be next on your list?
Well, President Trump has a lot of good soldiers, and Rick Grinnell is a great one, and he's the one who brought them home in Venezuela. So I don't want to not give him the credit. He did an amazing job there. But yeah, I think I feel blessed. I told the president last night, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me to do this. It makes my life feel worthwhile and consequential, and it's a blessing to work for him. That's how it feels."
This process, if you can speak to a little bit of the negotiations, because there is some talk this morning about how long it took maybe for the previous administration to bring these detainees and prisoners home, Americans back to the U.S., and you were able to do this in just about 3 weeks. Can you talk to that?
Well, President Trump makes people like Mark Fogle a priority. They're ordinary Americans, but they're as important to him as anybody else out there. And so he directs us to go out and nobody gets left behind. That's the military thing. Well, he employs the same sort of concept as it affects people like Mark Fogel. And he came home last night, and I think you'll see other people coming home. He'll use his strength to bring everybody home that we can.
I wanted to ask you, you were talking a bit about President Trump's relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. What do you think this means now for the potential end to the war in Ukraine?
Well, I'm not the military guy, so I can't tell you. But I can tell you this. The president, I know, had a great relationship with President Putin. And I know that I am grateful to President Putin for what he did here, and the president is grateful to President Putin for what he did here. And I think both of them are intent on great communication. They had that when he was president. He should have been president in 2020. Ukraine would not have happened. But we are where we are, and I think you're going to see some very, very good results as they resume that great friendship that they had.
And you don't have a sense of what your next trip may be. You said President Trump just calls you and says, "Go get on your plane and go bring someone home."
That's how he does it. It's as simple as that.
As simple as that. And just one quick question. What was Fogel's first words to you when you saw him?
"Thank you. I can't believe it. Thank you. Tell me I'm not dreaming."
Can I ask you, I'm not sure if this has already been touched on yet, but just the details around the release. Russia is saying that there is an exchange happening with the Russian release of one of their prisoners for Fogle. So is this an exchange? I know others, Secretary Rubio was saying that this wasn't a one-for-one situation.
I don't want to comment on that. I'm not sure what's happening in the United States today. I think that getting Mark Fogle out was critical. And the Russians were very, very helpful in that effort and very accommodating. And I think that's maybe a sign about how that working relationship between President Trump and President Putin will be in the future, and what that may portend for the world at large, for conflict and so forth. I think they had a great friendship, and I think now it's going to continue, and it's a really good thing for the world.
Can you speak to how many times President Trump has spoken to Putin?
I can't, because I don't know.
And any more details just in terms of your own visit, taking your own private plane, how this felt, and just how many have you been able to retrieve so far? 10?
It felt like I was blessed, like somebody reached down, touched me, and said, "You get to go do this," and or implement it on behalf of the president. and it felt that I was touched and blessed as a result.